Hello, 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 and welcome back to Coach Crystal Henry's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining. I have a great question that I'm answering on tonight. What I did was I got my son, who's a senior in high school, to ask some of his friends some questions. And so I am answering one of these great questions today. So the first question that I'm going to answer is how to deal with someone walking out on you. How do I deal with someone walking out on me? How do I deal with someone leaving me? How do I deal with the rejection? How do I deal with the desertion? How do I deal with the neglect? How do I deal with someone leaving me behind? Leaving me stranded? How do I deal with the betrayal that comes with leaving me alone? How do I deal with the termination? Because it's like you're getting terminated from a relationship. Abandoned, deserted, rejected, neglected, leaving behind, stranding, betrayal, or termination. Those are some synonyms to someone walking out on you. That's what we're going to talk about in this session of high school questions. So what I was thinking about with this question, I'm like, man, this is really heavy. I can't coach each level of this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some examples of hurt and what we do to try to get healed from them. So I'm just giving a very surface level answer. If you need more details, if you need one-on-ones with me, of course, you can check out mymentor.life/Crystal Henry, and you can book me for a coaching session or sessions to be able to handle someone walking out on you. But here are a few things. When someone walks out on you, it hurts. I just want you to know that it hurts. Everyone goes through this. Somewhere in your life, someone that you expect to be there isn't there for you, isn't there with you, walks away. It could be a very ugly separation, or it could be them simply not calling you back, or them simply not answering the phone. And you may not get closure for why they left you, why they walked away, why they never answered your phone call, why they ignored you. Sometimes we get answers, and when we do, it may not be what we want to hear. And it may not be what we want to see. Sometimes it's what you see that you're like, oh my God. Sometimes it's what you hear, and sometimes you don't get to hear or see. And sometimes we get this feeling from someone if they have died. So there's many different avenues where people may feel like someone walked out on them, walked out, left them, abandoned them. So we know that it's hurtful, it's hurt. And really, when you're saying someone walked out of my life, someone left me alone, really what you're saying is, how do I deal with the hurt? How do I deal with the hurt after they're gone? How do I deal with the pain? How do I get rest? Because you're like crying, you're repeating over and over again what happened. You're repeating that scenario. You're listening to it over and over again. You're speaking it over and over again. You're saying, well, maybe if I did this, or if I did that, or what if I did this, they would still be here. All those if-then statements running through your mind, all those scenarios, and maybe if I had did this, it would have worked out. Bottom line, they're gone. Bottom line, how do you deal with it? How do you get over the hurt? How do you get healed from it? So I'm going to use something simple to help you relate. Okay, so we're dealing with hurt, and how do I get healed, right? So everybody has had a scratch. Everybody has fallen down and skinned their knee, fallen, hurt, skinned their elbow, got hit, got in a car wreck. We've all had some kind of abrasive, some kind of wound, some kind of bruise. We've all had some kind of injury. Well, when someone leaves you or rejects you or abandons you, betrays you, any of that, that is hurt. Okay, that's a wound. So what I'm comparing someone walking out on your life with a wound. And the way we care for wounds are differently for different parts of our body. Okay, so let's start with if I got a cut on my face. Now, if I got a wound on my face, what would I do to heal that wound? And what would that relate to? So if I got a cut on my face, I don't want that cut to scar, right? And a lot of times when someone walks out on our life, it's something that's going to scar us. It's something that's going to hurt us, okay? But in order to prevent the scarring, there's things that you have to do. So, for example, if I got a cut on my face, that would be somebody that, and we're going to relate it to someone that would be close to my face. Maybe your parent. Maybe it's your dad or your mom. Maybe it's your spouse. And I know this is a high school question, but it goes far and wide to anybody. Maybe it's your boyfriend. Maybe it's your first boyfriend, your first experience with everything. And when they left you, it devastated you. So if you got cut on your face, that would be something devastating that you would not want to deal with. Maybe it's a relative that crossed you or did you wrong, stole money from you. Maybe it's a relative. So if we're relating a cut on the face to someone that would be in our face, that would be close enough for us to feel their breath. So how would I work on a cut on my face? For one thing, I would maintain proper hygiene. Maintain proper hygiene. I would keep my scab clean at all times. I would keep my scab moisturized so that it wouldn't scar. If I had stitches, I would cover it for a certain amount of time, but then I would have to leave it uncovered and I would have to get the stitches removed. And then I would have to put some type of ointment on there to cause the scarring to go away or to be lessened. So that means that this type of scar, a cut on my face, I would need antibiotics, I would need ice, I would need special ointments. So I would have to handle myself with care. So my suggestion to you is don't let yourself go when something like this happens. And what does that mean? So when I said keep proper hygiene, sometimes when we break up with someone, we may not bathe for a couple of days. We may not brush our teeth. We might be crying hysterically. We might stop eating. We might stop doing the things that we would do in our normal day life. Now think about it. If you got a cut on your face, you wouldn't just let that go and not put antiseptic on it, not go get stitches, not put ice on it. You would not just not do anything, right? You would be like, oh my God, it's my face. Let me put some ice on it. Let me go through the care. Let me talk to a doctor. So sometimes if your hurt is so bad that you might need to talk to a doctor, you might need to see a coach, you might need to talk to a friend that really is neutral, that will really help you through this time. You might need to go to church. You might need to seek the Lord. And I would hope that you would seek the Lord anyways. And I'm coming from a perspective of being a Christian, okay? So that's why I'm telling you, if your hurt is someone very close to you and it's so bad, don't sit there and do nothing, okay? If it was your face, you would do something, right? So that's the first topic. If it's a parent, if it's a spouse, if it's somebody, a blood relative, a boyfriend, a very close boyfriend, or a very close friend, you deal with it. Deal with it. Let it go. Forgive the person. So this may be a process, just like a cut on your face would take a while to heal, then it would take a while to heal. And so I need you to be okay with it taking a while for you to heal. Okay? Okay? Now, if you got bruised, if you got bruised, this would be something that may be embarrassing. If I just got a bruise, it might be a friend that hurt your feelings, that walked out on your life. Maybe you don't understand. Maybe, it was an argument and you're like, I asked them to forgive me, but they won't forgive you. They won't. And it's bothering you. So if it's a bruise, a friend, somebody that may not have been a long-term friend, somebody that may not have been a long-term lover, somebody that you looked up to, maybe it was your pastor or somebody that you looked up to and they offended you and they walked out. So if it's a bruise, if it's something unexpected where it was a quick hit, but it's a bruise, how would you handle healing a bruise? Well, you could put ice on it. You could put it, and also I didn't know this, but you could put heat on a bruise. Did you know that? You put ice and then you put heat and it'll help it go away. You put pineapple juice or vitamin C, aloe vera on bruises to get rid of bruises. You would use a compress. So like you put a little pressure on it. Or you can just leave it alone and let it heal itself and go away. You can talk about it, but don't keep hitting that same spot because the bruise will get deeper and deeper. Okay? So first we're dealing with, maybe it's a cut on my face. That's going to take a little bit more time and you might need somebody to step in to help you get over that. If it's a bruise, you might cry. Because I've cried, I've hit myself, and I'm like, it hurt. But then, when the bruise goes away in a couple of days, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay. I might be a little bruised. Maybe I was embarrassed, but I'm okay. It wasn't that deep of a wound. Maybe it's a bruise. And maybe it wasn't somebody that was that close, but, kind of made you wonder in the back of your mind. Still, talk about it, forgive them, and move on. Once that bruise goes away, it'll take time. Time heals wounds. And it wasn't a deep wound. And another wound that I will talk about is your ego. Sometimes when someone walks away, it's our ego because we thought, man, I had them. Man, I thought, it's our ego or emotional. It's emotional. Maybe it's more emotional. I'm crying, I'm very upset. So this is another way. You could be emotionally hurt or your ego is hurt. Because, man, now all my friends are going to talk about me. Now all the girls are going to talk about me. Now, I don't want everybody talking about me. I'm embarrassed. So is it your ego that got hurt because they left? Are your emotions hurt because they left? If it's something like an emotion, that's like a cut in your mouth. Have you ever had a cut in your mouth or you like bite the side of your jaw and you're like, and it bleeds a little bit? Or maybe you chewed something and hit your gum and it bled a little bit. Well, guess what? When it hits your ego or it hits your emotions, it doesn't take as long to get healed from that type of injury, right? And what do I do to get my ego in check or my emotions in check? Well, how would I heal that wound in my mouth? Well, I wash my mouth out. I wash my mouth out with salt water. or some mouthwash. I would eat soft foods. I would avoid hot sauce or things like that. I would use baby oil gel to maybe numb the area if it hurt, but it would heal a lot quicker. So what does that mean if my emotion, check what, if it's your emotions or your ego, check yourself, because emotions and ego comes from pride. I'm too proudful. You know what? Maybe I need to humble myself. Maybe that's why they left me, because I was too emotional. I was too much about myself. Maybe I need to humble myself. There are many reasons why people would leave you. May not be a good reason, but you don't need to hold on to it and beat yourself up about it. You don't need to be embarrassed about it. People leave, people go. Everybody is not meant to be with you your whole entire life. It doesn't happen that way. And so, how do we get over things? We deal with them. We think about the relationship. We think about, maybe I did something wrong, or maybe they did something wrong. Even though they were the one to leave, evaluate your situation. It could be something simple like, you know what? I'm going to wash my mouth out. I'm going to take some mouthwash. I'm going to eat differently for a few days until this in my mouth heals, until my ego heals, until my emotions heal. Maybe it'll take me a few days to get over it. Okay, I'm going to get over it. Maybe it's something a little more intense, like a bruise. I got to put some ice on it. Maybe I need to talk to somebody, talk to my friend, talk to my mother, talk to my pastor. It's a bruise. Maybe I'll put some ice on it, put some heat on it, rub it, put some pineapple juice, or have some vitamin C. Maybe I need to just do that for a couple of days or like a week or so, and it'll be gone. My hurt will be gone. I will be healed. I will get over it, because time does heal wounds. Time does take away me missing them, because a lot of times it's hard when someone walks out in your life because you miss their presence. You miss them. You miss hanging out. You just got to do something different. Amen. And then if it's something like a cut on your face, if it's something like really serious and you might need to go see a surgeon, then you might need to go seek counseling, seek serious help, okay? Because you don't want to get stuck in the place of where you're not keeping up with your proper hygiene, you're devastated, no one can console you. Any book or any Bible or any word, there's nothing encouraging. You're inconsolable. When you're like that, you need to get help. So I hope that these few little pointers, in comparison to bruises, because someone walking out on you is like a bump or a bruise. It's something that we don't think about ahead of time, but we hold on to it for a long time afterwards. And guess what? I don't want you to hold on to it. Think of it as a bruise. Think of it as a cut. Think of it as a wound. And what would you do for that wound, that cut, that bruise to be healed? You work on it. You put some ointment on it. You seek the proper medical care and attention. And then you get over it. And guess what? If you've kept your hygiene up, if you kept eating the way you should have been eating, if you got rest, because guess what? Rest allows you to heal. If you don't rip the scab off, because if I had a scar on my face, I would never rip and pick the scab off. But if it's on our arm, we'll pick the scab off, right? Picking the scab off means you're opening up the wound again. Don't open up that wound again. Talk about it, get over it, let it heal. Let it heal. And if it ends up being a scar, remember where you got that scar from, and put the proper boundaries up, and remember from it, but don't let it hinder you. Because the thing about a scar is if I have a scar on my elbow, I'll remember what happened, and maybe I won't get in that sticker bush again. Maybe you won't get in that sticker bush again. You'll remember it and you'll go on, because that scar doesn't hinder you from moving on, from going forward and doing greater things. So I hope that this encouraged you to be able to let go of the hurt and get healed, get your rest, be fabulous, be a wonderful you. Loving yourself is part of getting over hurts and pains. So once again, I am Coach Crystal Henry. I hope this message blessed you, and come back, like, share, and subscribe. Somebody needs this message. Somebody needs this word. And why don't you share it? So I'll see you next time. Have a great one.